Hey, welcome to AI Command Academy. Let's take a look at skills today. It's a new feature in Claude, and I've done most of that skills development in Claude Code, but let's do it in Claude Desktop or just Claude in your browser. So stay tuned, be right there.
Hey there, back at my desk. So today we're going to take a look at skills. This is, again, a multi-part series because you can do a lot with skills, and they're a fairly new feature in Claude, and still getting command of them as well. But they're really nice, and I find myself using them more than some of the other features like creating agents. So what skills are, I mean, the name kind of says a lot. Let's say that you do a lot of copywriting with Claude, and so it's generating a lot of copy. And let's say that the copy is for social media, and so let's pretend that that was a role. And if you were hiring someone, so you would hire someone as a writer, and they would have certain skills. And let's say one of the skills would be, writing for a social media audience. And so right there, you can create literally a text file that would describe what that means for that skill. What does it mean to have that skill? Another example would be that same role could have obviously more than one skill. So not only can they write for that audience, but they're aware of your brand guidelines. So they're skilled at following the brand guidelines. And so you would create another file, another skill that would embody what that means. And it follows a very specific format, that text file, and Claude is pre-trained to understand what to do with that. And so it's not just a prompt, it's actually training itself on that particular, to perform that skill. And you'll see in the file that you create, there are keywords, so you could have it just be invoked automatically. So as you're working with Claude, just in the course of you're asking it to do things like write a social media post, it would detect the fact that it has a skill that could perform that task for you, and it would invoke that skill. So it makes things consistent. It's very composable, so it's very easy to write these. And what is I love that word, composable. And another concept is they're portable. So we'll take a look that you can upload them to Claude. So you can take them from you can share them with friends. If you have a teammate, you can share them with your teammate. And you'll see in Claude Code, you can share them across projects that you're working on. So in that sense, they're very portable. So they're really nice, and they're very easy to work with. They're zip files. It's a zip file with a text file inside of it. It can do a lot, but it doesn't have to. It can be very simple, straightforward. So they're easy. Okay, so let's take a look. This is the browser, just the browser instance of Claude. And I've opened up my settings, and it's under this capabilities. So if you scroll down here, we're starting at the top, scroll down, you'll see there's a skills section. And there are some pre-made skills that you should definitely try out. So you can see here, social media copy editor, just like I was saying, algorithmic art, which is really fun to play around with if you're bored, want to explore. Brand guidelines, there you go. Canvas design, so I use Canvas. Sorry, no, this is Canvas, not Canva. So internal comms, you can specify. This is when you're writing to a CEO or C-level executive. This is the style you use and so forth. So these are the pre-baked ones. I haven't tried them all. There's a GIF creator, like be fun, theme factory. We're going to create one in the next video. This one, I just wanted to show you where they were. And you can see even there's a section to upload skills. So we'll do that in the middle. So what I did was I used the brand guidelines, and I already ran that. And so can see. uh, it's very simple. I went into that skill, and actually this was generated from the skill itself. Here, let me go back here for a second. Under settings, back up to settings, capabilities, scroll down, and then I'm going to do this again. I'm not going to run it though. Yeah, if you right click on that and it says try and chat, that's all I did. So I'll go back. This is the prompt, and so it knew enough. Well, actually, you're asking for the skill explicitly, and it invokes the skill. So you can see it's reading the guidelines. There are examples, and then there are the guidelines, and then it's creating the artifact here. And so let's show you here. And this is just an example, but it's adhering to all of the instructions for that particular skill. So we're going to crack open a skill in the next video and actually create one. So stay tuned. That will be part 2. But at this point, just be aware of where they are, play around with them, and see if you can invoke the skill without even explicitly mentioning it. That way you get the hang of how close do you have to be to being obvious for it to be called. And Claude will generally pick up on it. In that light, when we move on to Claude code training, we'll be creating sub-agents. And so what sub-agents would do is the equivalent of actually creating the role. So you create a sub-agent and say, you are the copywriter for my team. And that copywriter would know, oh, I'm writing something for social media, and it would invoke that particular skill. So it kind of adds another layer of abstraction. So for you as the human interacting with Claude, you're just calling the sub-agent. Not even explicitly, you just say, like, I'd like some copyright that says blah, blah, blah. And Claude would call the sub-agent, which would in turn, if the appropriate use case was for social media, it would invoke that particular skill. So it's really pretty powerful. They're just layers of abstraction for getting work done. Anyway, thanks for hanging with me this long, and we'll take a look at actually creating a skill next. But in the meantime, just play around with them. Hope you have fun.